Hi, good morning guys, and welcome to the 4th edition of Movers and Shakers. Today we have a very special guest, and before we jump in, let's check with Rajat. Where are we heading, Rajat?
Hey, we are going to Vidyarthi Bhavan, and I'm really looking forward to going there. Heard about that since years.
And also I think we are missing our friend Girish.
Yeah, unfortunately Girish is held up.
Okay, so in the back seat we have a very, very special Augusta resident, and he's phenomenal in a sense, like he's got a very illustrative corporate career, and then nothing less in terms of his sports achievement as well. So if you're looking at someone who has met all the possible elements in terms of fulfilling your aspiration, both corporate as well as sports, you have someone here, and he's none other than the So Deepak, welcome to the Movers and Shakers show.
Hey, applause.
Thank you. Thanks. So Deepak, first of all, I went through your profile and it was so very amazing, and it will be really interesting for all of us living in Augusta to learn a little bit more about you. And this show is all about inspiring people. This show is about learning from people who have done something different, something difficult, and something which was phenomenal. So here is a great opportunity for us. So to begin with, Deepak, first of all, our condolences for your loss of pet.
Thank you.
And that must have been very difficult. You mentioned that your pet was with you for almost 15 years. All right, so to begin with, Deepak, the first question is that you seem to have a very, very interesting achievement in terms of running and sports. Let me just have a look at what I've noted down. Yeah, so the first question was, what inspired you to set a goal of competing the world major marathons? Now, very interesting, Deepak. What we see is that you have done it outside India. You have done it in London, you've done it in New York, Chicago, Boston, Berlin, and you just came back from Tokyo. How did you manage to do this? How did you set your aspiration that you will do that? Very interestingly, what came to my mind was that whenever people think of doing a marathon, the normal sense is that you think of marathon in your community, in your city, and maybe in India. But you are probably the first one we are experiencing where you have set your goal and aspiration overseas. So is that because you hit a jackpot, or you found some treasure back in your backyard? What is it? On a lighter note, I mean, so tell us a little bit more about this goal setting, Deepak, of planning your marathons in so many other countries as well.
Yeah, actually, I mean, the just before that, I'd just like to say how I got into running. Actually, yeah. I'm not a runner, honestly. I'm not a good runner, but I love sports. I used to, keep playing pretty much every sport that was there in school and college, and up to a point I continued even when I was working, whether it is badminton, tennis, cricket, you name it. I used to play hockey, soccer, all of these things, and then at least the racket games I continued when I started working, and it became more and more difficult with travel and so at a point it became I reached a point where I was not able to play either because I was traveling, or when I was here my partner, tennis or badminton partner was not there, and then when both of us are there, we have not booked the court. So effectively we put on weight. So both me and one of my partners, we just registered. I'd never run in my life. Never run in my life. We straight away registered. I was in Delhi. we registered for a half marathon in Delhi, and we didn't know how to get there. So, but somehow, with literally 15 days of training, with little bit of walking, running, so we finished that half marathon. That is what got me hooked into running. After that, I did quite a few half marathons in Delhi, Gurgaon, and I attended this course called as corporate athlete. In 2000.
So this first half marathon you did when? At what age?
Which year was this?
I think I was about 44, 45.
Okay.
That's the first.
Well into middle age.
Yeah,
Okay.
into my mid 40s. So that's when I, registered into these. And then I did like quite a few half marathons. And so then I, by the time I would finish half marathon, I would be like, completely, half dead. So I never thought I'll be able to do a full marathon until I attended this course, that corporate athlete course. So that pushes you on each of these dimensions, spiritual dimension, which is primarily goal setting, and then physical, mental, emotional. So when
What was this course?
this was a course, is a health and well-being course, and so it basically is a 2.5 day course from Human Performance Institute in Florida, and it was meant only for senior management in GSK when I was with GSK, and so it really kind of pushes you on each of the elements. And so when they pushed me on the goal setting element, so that's when I realized that I have been spending so much time on work, very little time with family, and absolutely no time for myself, which is myself is like, my own passion is, sports. So it was like a real wake up call for me. And then I said, hey, listen, this is no way to live. So I need to kind of reset my priorities. So I tried consciously to spend more time with family, and I was trying to be more productive at work. And most importantly, I wrote down a very difficult target of doing a full marathon in the next 2 to 3 years. So, and it kept playing on me. Once you write down a goal, it keeps playing on you. And I wanted to, because it was one-off thing, just wanted to shake it off, and I wanted to do that. And I selected one of the best ones, which was London Marathon. That's how I selected one of the best ones, which is London Marathon. And GSK, we were the sponsors, for co-sponsors for London Marathon. So I had to pull some internal strings and get a slot.
So great.
So that's how I got in. So.
Thank you, Deepak. So, I mean, very inspirational. I mean, for the benefit of everyone who's watching, let's dissect this a little bit because it's got some great messages. And number one is, I think the problem statement which you just mentioned, which is probably a problem with everyone today, wherein we are so very busy with our corporate life and we lose focus and we get dragged into the monotony of day-to-day work with our, with our job aspirations, and we kind of put everything else as, second priority. Now that same thing happened with you, and then you somehow said, okay, no, the time has now come, I need to do something about it. So number one is, you said, okay, let me take the first leap of faith, let me take a half marathon. So the first learning which we are having from you is that in this busy world, you might be doing many things, but maybe there's a moment of reflection one needs to have and say, okay, so far so good, so far so no further, let me do something. So that's number one. Number two is, you mentioned that you took a little bit of a professional approach by undergoing a course, which kind of oriented yourself in a right direction, which also helped you in terms of goal setting. And you said that the first goal you set was for a 2-year span, the biggest marathon in London. And obviously, so the second thing is that be clear about where you want to go and don't be in a rush. Plan and prepare and set a goal which is for 2 years, right? The third thing you also did not speak, but I picked up from your notes, is that the role of family in this entire journey of transition. And you've given a huge acknowledgement to your better half and your sister. in this journey. So tell us a little bit about how important is a family support in driving this kind of a goal and meeting it.
I think it is absolutely critical that the family support is there in this, because there is a lot of sacrifice they have to also make. So, for example, if I have to do the training, it is just not the physical part, but it is also the time part. Because the weekends, so I used to work the whole week, and I hardly used to have time, and weekend was the only time I would get to do the training. So unless my wife and my kids would support me in this journey, it would never have happened. So Chandrika and my kids have got a very, very important role to play in making me accomplish this. And similarly, earlier, so I had mentioned, I think it's International Women's Day yesterday, and so I really want to take this opportunity to thank my wife Chandrika, who we've been married for last 29 years. So she's been my anchor and my pillar, behind whatever I am today. I think is because of her solid backing for me in anything that I did. And the other person I also want to acknowledge is my sister, my eldest sister. So she's been a stellar pillar for us as a family, right from childhood.
Yeah, awesome. And what a great testimony, right? And to the fact that women play a very, very active role in the family's development. And like everyone says, there's always a lady behind a successful man, or not successful as well. Okay, so Deepak, the other thing, your journey is very inspirational, primarily because see, we all have worked in the corporate and working in the corporate, and then when you set a goal like doing a world major marathon and things like that, and then you embark on the journey. Tell me, what were some of the initial setbacks you had? How did you overcome it? Are there any experiences you would like to share?
Yeah, I think initially I didn't really know how to go about and do a full marathon, and so I picked up a book which was How to Run a Marathon by Hal Higdon, and that book was my guide. And those days, there were not trainers. This is like 2009. There were not too many people in my circuit who had done marathon. I couldn't find anyone who had done a marathon so that I could get some guidance. I just read that book, and I took that book as my guide, and I started training. And so I that helped me get to a place where I was able to complete the London Marathon.
Awesome. Now that you have had a full round of experience running marathons in different countries, different cities, different cultures, tell us a little bit about your learnings. What were your key observations and learnings in these different countries? Were there some key takeaways for you?
I think the key takeaways from going across different places is that we think the cultures are very different in different countries. So, but at a macro level, everything is the same. So their aspirations are the same, people's difficulties are the same, their wishes are the same. So across different countries, the local cultures may be different, but as humans, as individuals, all our difficulties, our wishes, everything is actually the same. So that's a big wow moment for me, across different cultures.
So Deepak, the next question is about that sense of fulfillment one would have when you set a goal, you achieved it and started to do more. What was your personal satisfaction? What is that which says you've achieved something, you did something, and which is something which you'd like to remember?
So when I signed up for the first London Marathon, so I didn't think that I will do too many. I just wanted to do one to get back in good shape, and then carry on from there.
Take it off your bucket list.
Yeah, it was more like a bucket list item. So, but when I did the first marathon, so of course I had to really train hard for that, and I also didn't want to drop dead, while doing that. So did proper health checks and all of those kinds of things, because I was not sure whether I can even do that. So it was completely, out of my comfort, well beyond my comfort zone to be able to, sign up for that. So when I did, and I eventually completed that, so I called my wife, from London after I finished, and the tears were streaming down, So I was, for the first time, I experienced that feeling that I was so overwhelmed by the joy that tears were streaming down, and so one was that. And that's the time I said that, hey, listen, I think, there's something in this that I need to continue, on this. And just a couple of months down the line, I'd gone on a vacation with my family. So, Chandrika and my 2 kids. And in that vacation, I got the next epiphany. And I had so much energy to match my both kids. They were like fully energetic, and they wanted to do this, they wanted to do that, they wanted to get into swimming pool, and so I had all the energy that I could whatever they wanted, I was able to do. So I said, and that was purely because of hard training I had done and the fitness that I had achieved because of the marathon. Then I said, if I can feel like a 20-year-old when I was like almost 49, at 49, why give this thing up?
Yeah.
And that was the reason. Then I said I will try and do one marathon every year, because once you set a goal, automatically you fall in place. If I don't set a goal, then I completely off the chart as far as the exercise is concerned. So that every year goal actually helped me be fit. So that was the epiphany that helped me sign up for more.
Yeah.
So you signed up for one marathon every year. That was your goal.
That was the goal after that, and within that, I wanted to do these big 5. That time there were only 5. So London and Tokyo was not there. London, New York, Boston, Chicago, and Berlin. So I signed up for 5 in 2011 when I did that. So I said I'll do these 5 as the minimum, as my aspiration.
The 6 stars.
Yeah, that time it was 5-star, and later on they added Tokyo, so it became 6 stars.
Awesome. So a couple of things. Number one, from key messages, right? Number one is that once you set a goal and achieve that, then just don't lie low or let it go. Pick up another target and go forward. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
The second key thing which you mentioned is that as we keep growing up in age, it's also be important that we are in a healthy and fit, so that you're around your kids, right, and you can match up to their expectation. Otherwise, it's really boring stuff, right? And you lose out on those great moments which you can enjoy with your children.
That's true.
So that's very amazing and interesting. So Deepak, one interesting lesson for everyone is that everyone is busy in the corporate world, right? And you made that transition and successfully balanced both the worlds, corporate world and your sports. Yeah. If there are any key learnings you would like to share with the rest of us in terms of what we should start doing, given that today is a very competitive world, high level of distraction, pressures and stress, people don't know what they're doing. Actually, it's like a mechanical life. From that point of view, are there any key messages you'd like to share with the community members?
So I think the key message here is my learning from the last few years is that if you are able to take care of yourself, then you can take care of your family very well, and then you can take care of your work very well. Because earlier, before I got into this, I used to work very long hours, and it's not that I didn't work long hours after that, but I did long hours. But the difference is that I started taking care of my health. So through this running regularly. So once you take care of your health, I found that my productivity went up at work. I was far more productive. I was far more energetic. I was mentally, I was feeling far more, calmer.
Yeah.
So it really helped my work performance. I don't think I would have been able to perform this well at work if I had not gotten into the running part.
Okay. So running the marathon actually helps
helped me perform better at work.
And family.
And of course the family, with family.
So that I think is a very powerful message.
Let him
And,
also say
yeah.
one, what does training for a marathon imply? What all does it include, and how does one go about it?
I think the training for the marathon, there are 2-3 key aspects. One aspect is, you do not suddenly increase the distance, which many people, try to, do that. Oh, suddenly I'll go for 15 or 20 kilometers. So whatever is your one's capacity, you start with that. It could be just gradual, just 5 kilometers, that's okay. And then you increase only 10% per week. So if you do 5 kilometers, runs during this week, and then you do, 5.5 next week. So like that, and slowly you keep increasing the thing. So if you're done 20, then next week you can go to 22. So that's the way you kind of slowly go right up to 32 kilometers. You never have to run for 42.
Yeah.
Then train up to 32, and that is good enough. And the second biggest issue is injury. And when injury happens, then you have to respect your body. So you have to listen to your body, and then you have to give rest. Rest in the sense from running, but you can still do other things like swimming or cycling, which are much more gentler, so that your fitness doesn't go down. So you should continue to do other exercises even when you have injury.
But what is the time commitment that for running the marathon? How much of training do you do, say, every week, or is there some structured methodology that you suggest to follow? Or
yeah, I think weekdays, twice or thrice during the weekdays, you can do whatever little bit, so 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, etc. But the weekend is very crucial, the weekend one, so where you have to keep on increasing right up to 32, and that is very structured. So the weekdays, in my case, used to be all over the place. Sometimes I would never get time to exercise during the weekdays. But weekends, I would keep it as sacrosanct, and I would, do it over the weekends. So, but ideal is if you are able to do at least couple of times during the weekdays, and then the weekend, the long run.
One long run
during the weekend. So that's really sacrosanct.
Just to add to what Rajat said, are there any dietary preparation you may do?
Very good question. So I think
mine wasn't so good.
No, diet plays a very, very important role. Very, very important role, and one has to be having lots of fruits and vegetables, and good quality protein. So if if somebody is a vegetarian, they should ensure that they should have good quality protein, whether it is paneer or so dahi or the milk. And so people who eat non-vegetarian, it's very easy, so eggs. And so as soon as you finish a long run, you should have a good dose of protein. You can have a protein shake, or you can have eggs, or so I think that's very, very critical. And the other part is, I'm from processed food industry, and I'm actually advising people to reduce your processed food intake.
One other thing we wanted to know is that when you run and train, your muscles are tired and things like that. So besides the cooling down exercises,
Yeah.
do you do anything? Do you use any machines for your leg massages or relaxations or any such thing?
One of the things is just sitting in the bathtub with warm water, with Epsom salt. That really helps. And especially after running, if there are some points which are aching, etc., icing. That especially if you got some aches or some minor injuries and all, icing really helps.
Congrats again, Deepak. Your 6 stars are really, really inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I accomplished that dream of doing the 6 stars, and now I had one more dream, which was having a breakfast at
Vidyarthi Bhavan.
Bhavan. So you made my second aspiration also.
So this is what we call 7 stars.
The 7 wonders.
7 wonders. All right then. Thank you guys.
Thank you,
See
thank you.
DEEPAK! DEEPAK! DEEPAK!
I think if we come. So I'm looking for some, really one of the top class dosas here.
To be honest, all I am looking for is the way in which the waiters carry the dosa. He puts it on his hand and he has 20 dosas across from.
You want to point
shoulder to
your
here.
towards the picture here?
This is what I've heard this, and this is what I'm looking forward to see. He's taken my coupon. Four for 3.